Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network. Coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower Square with your host, Sergeant Friday. Sarge, how you doing?
Cletus, I am doing fucking awesome. Another
Well,
good day. Not in the ground being eaten by fucking bugs and maggots is a great day. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
I don't think daisies are going to grow above me when I'm gone. So that's why I don't say pushing up daisies.
Why not? What do you think's going to grow there?
Oh, man.
A fucking
Probably ain't going to be
bull
flowers there, Cletus. It probably won't be flowers. Oh, my God. Listen, on the side, on the off ramps here where I live, and I live in New York, oftentimes there's areas of the highways and expressways and throughways that are um, forested on each side of it, or a lot of land. You know what I mean? Just nothing.
Yeah.
Pretty nice, pretty good. But there's also, in conjunction with that, on most of those off ramps, there's wild daisies growing. Have I ever told you about this before?
No.
So listen. So I pull over one time to pick these daisies for a girl. She thought it was the most romantic thing ever. And I go over and I start picking a few of them, and then I smell them. And they literally smelled like rotten ass. It was the nastiest smelling thing I'd ever even put near my nose. I couldn't fucking believe it. These beautiful fucking yellow centered, white petaled fucking flowers. And they smell like ass intensified. It's terrible. And I couldn't believe it. But then I realized how funny that was, right? And so I continued to pick them until I got a great number of them together. They brought them back and gave them to my girlfriend. And she took one whiff of fucking flowers and threw them fucking things. What the fuck did you do to too bad YouTube didn't exist back then, because when I was younger, I'd do some just silly shit. And to this day, I can't help but laughing at it. So, knowing this over the years a couple of times, well, even with that girlfriend, she's like, oh, pull over here. I go, what? She goes, I want to pick some of these flowers and bring them home to my mother. I was like, all right. Oh my God. And then my daughter one time saw them. And I pointed them out to my daughter. She's like, Dad, can we get some? Can we get some? I'm like, honey, you're not gonna want them. They don't smell nice. Come on, Dad. You just don't want to pull over. So I let her feel like she convinced me to pull over. I pulled over and she picked those flowers. She whiffed them and she's like, oh, Dad, you're right. I said, well, keep picking them. She goes, what do I go, because we're gonna bring them home to your mom. She goes, what? I go, yeah, bring them home, give them to your mom. She goes, you do it. I go, no, you do it. She won't take them from me. She'll take them from you. And she thought about it. She said, okay. So she picked them. And then I dropped my daughter off from visitation. She gave them to her mother. And then snitched on me, of course, right? But ran right out of the car, right to the garage. Mom, I got these for you. Her mother smelled them and janked her fucking head away. Didn't throw them because her daughter just gave them to her, right?
Yeah.
So it was just too funny, man.
That's fucking funny.
Anyway. So you were busy last night. We didn't have a co-host. Your business is your business. And we won't talk about that business. But, the business of being here at 9 o'clock didn't seem to matter. Cletus?
Yeah, I had something that took precedence. So I missed out. Yeah, took precedence.
That whole P. I like that letter P. There's 7 of them that ring true,
Yep, I do.
Do you know what 7 of them ring true? Can you share with the audience?
I can't right now. No, my brain's
Can
too
I help you
fucking
with
fried from the day. You absolutely please enlighten.
Well, it's generally prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So that letter P is a very powerful fucking letter. Oh Christ!
It was just something that couldn't be planned for. So it yeah, because Clue don't plan, and it was her thing. So
yeah,
it just sort of happens. Yeah.
It's quite interesting. I don't know if someone's pointing out lurkers. You don't need to lurk. You could say hi. You can call me a name. You could compliment me. You can be humble and accept that your intelligence level is far beneath mine. You can do all of those things in the chat room. Clear?
I was gonna say, talking about flowers aren't going to grow above your grave. I would think that My best guess would be kudzu, because it spreads somewhat slowly and it's a giant pain in the ass.
Well, that wasn't very nice. Well,
Well,
it was kind of like a fucking, I don't know, man. It was like I was like Trump. I was nicked by a bullet. It wasn't a headshot, but it was close.
I'm just saying. I mean, you are the host of your Ass Hurts News Network, so
That's true. That's true. Your Ass News Network coming to you live from Cock Tower in Beijing, China, with the ever famous and forever loved the Lick of My Balls Convention Center. Yeah, yeah, all of that. The empire is strong. Let me just say, I am your father.
But is the Empire striking back? That's the question.
Never, not no. Old Sarge got
No.
them covered. Listen, when I've been in the pool the last several times, and folks, I'm in the pool uh, every day, and if I take my Kindle out there and I just let YouTube banter on behind me, and sometimes I got to jump up and turn it off and get rid of her. So and it's awful sunny out there, and so it's hard to actually see what I can pick. It's very complicated in my life, Cletus. The Kindles don't work real well in the bright sunlight. Neither do the phones, for that matter. And for all the smartness we give them credit for, they're pretty fucking stupid when it gets sunny out. Cletus?
Right? Yeah,
Right.
you would think they would master the art of putting a screen on that you don't have to
Right.
cover to see in the fucking daylight.
Right. Or something would come up to give it like a sunglass effect. We
Yeah.
wear sunglasses. I mean, we were smart enough to come up with sunglasses. Where are these smart machines fixing our fucking? Anyway, we'll have to figure that out for them because artificial intelligence ain't up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
So I've been watching a lot of these streams that have been Kamala Harris, and I'm going to say to you folks that when it comes to factually disagreeing with Kamala Harris, the black community is so spot on that it's almost frightening. They're more fact focused than you can even imagine. I'm going to make this prediction. I predict that Kamala Harris is going to lose the black vote in a quantity that the Democrats are going to gasp at, and it will be such a big loss of that voting block. And I'm talking big double digits, 30s and 40% range. She loses to that black community. And that loss is going to be a gasp that they're never going to recover from. Their 50-year timetable that Johnson gave them by signing that Civil Rights Act is up. And now they're not looking at character, or they're looking at character and content in more ways than I think most Americans can even imagine. And the criticality they have of this woman is they obviously see her pandering to their color, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to see all the videos on that, Cletus. It's even, we're talking even entertainers and big influencers. This isn't just white people on Twitter saying this,
right?
Which is quite impressive. But then when it comes down onto the policies, and they notice something that I would never have questioned, and neither would any of you in this audience. She had a rally in Michigan or somewhere, I think Michigan, and there were people in the crowd that were shouting against her, like protesters.
Yeah.
And she shut them down like a boss. Shut them right the fuck down. Told them that they're gonna. You keep acting like that, you're gonna go vote. Clearly, you're gonna go vote for Trump. So go vote for Trump. It's my time to talk. She hammered these people. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way I observed it, because I'm not in that circle of people on that side, I don't know all of their intricacies and views and ideas. But I saw it as a moment of her, like her "you're fired" moment. I interpreted that as her, putting her foot down and showing people she could stand up for herself. So that's what I interpreted, and that pretty much was what was avoided by the right media, but trumpeted by the fucking left-wing media. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what that really means to the people that would naturally vote for her? What they saw. What do you think they saw when that happened?
That she's not going to fucking listen to him.
That's one, but here's the most important thing. They know that she didn't pick the Shapiro guy in Pennsylvania because he's Jewish, and there's a huge subsection of their party that's pro-Palestinian. And so she didn't pick the Jewish guy in Pennsylvania to pander to the party's base that is pro-Palestinian, right? And then in the very next fucking day, she has a rally, and there's Palestinians pro-Palestinian ralliers in her audience making noise, and she slaps them fucking down like dogs. That's the way they see it. That she pandered to them, and then the next minute she kicked them right in the fucking balls, told them to shut up, your Trump voters.
Well, she's a Democrat, so I mean,
No,
what
but
do
do
they
you see how
expect?
eerie that is, and how
Oh
here's what I'm
yeah,
trying to point out: the facts of what the woman did are undisputable,
yeah,
and why she picked that guy Tim Walz. And then the first minute that there's any of the protesters that she's trying to pander to speak up in her crowd, she slammed them down and accused them of being trope voters because they're speaking out against her
hmm,
or over her. They're trying to talk over her. That's what it was. And they caught that and see it that way.
yeah,
That she's in other words, they understand that the whole reason is a racially based motive. That this war and all of these conflicts started because of her and Biden, and they did nothing to stop it. That's how these people came to be, because the Biden administration let these wars start, and they're going right. They're
right,
ongoing wars,
yeah,
and so there's a part of the party that's absolutely anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. That's a big block of votes. Minnesota, the state that her vice president comes from, is that state's majorly. It's got more Somalians in there than any state in the country. It's the second Somalian country, really. And so she's basically the person she did pick to be her vice president came from that state. She's basically kicking those people in the balls because they're Muslim, anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. And they're
hmm,
noticing this. And it's not just like one random streamer. We're talking people that have got massive followings, millions of people that are subscribed to their channels. It's quite impressive to see how this 50 years of them constantly voting Democrat and never paying attention to the issue, right? We could say that's a pretty safe bet for why the black community's done what they've done.
yeah.
And now to see them on the other side of it, paying attention to the issues and being critical of the people for their issues, and not because of their skin color or their abortion position or it's quite fucking stunning, man.
Yeah, I wonder, is it a situation, right, where, because, I look back on 2020 and those issues were what were pushed all fucking year, right? And capitalized upon, they were tragedy pimping the George Floyd situation to to push political fucking agendas. And, I don't really feel like that's been the case this year. And I'm wondering if that's maybe why, right? Because the brainwashing hasn't been on level 10 all fucking year like it typically is.
Well, I think the problem is the brainwashing message can't contradict reality. And reality at this point is big enough that people can't avoid it. Like I admit I buy some crackers and candy bars, and I'll buy some ice cream or a bag of chips every now and then. And a bag of chips, they're up here they were a decent size. It was a single bag, but like maybe 3 times bigger than a single bag. Those little tiny single bags you get in a machine for whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know what they cost now. Okay. And I was getting them for 99 cents. Could be cheese puffs. It could be Dorito. It could be anything, a pretzel. The same bag today is $2.49.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
so it's the reality of this that they can't get away from. In other words, no matter what the Democrats say and what they're trying to put your attention on, the attention of paying $2.49 for a bag of chips that shouldn't cost more than 99 cents is you can't overcome that argument. That's what the people are worried about.
Yeah.
Right? The economy. And they're also worried about us not being in wars, to the extent that, at least on the Democrat side, whether they agree with the Jewish or the Palestinian is not relevant. They definitely agree with the Palestinian side. But the fact that you would then kind of kick those supporters in the balls at one of your rallies, I just find what's happening on that side, they're tearing themselves apart in essence. And these black streamers, I listened to 2 of them today. One of them has 70,000 followers, but that video got more views than his followership that I looked at.
Yeah.
And he was showing how big influencers within the far left of the party, young women, young men, are the ones that are now attacking Kamala and not supporting Kamala specifically because what she did to those protesters at her rally. And I don't think Kamala's ever going to win them back. They're saying she showed her colors. That's the prosecutor in it. That's who she is. She says one thing, and you can't. She's not gonna. She's not gonna say, "Well, that's something we should talk about. That's a discussion we should have." She's gonna say, "Shut up. You're acting like you're acting. That means you're a Trump voter." And they're pretty fucking hot under the collar about her doing this. It's kind of awesome to see that transformation. I guess is my point.
Well, I guess we'll see if it lasts. Because I mean, it's one thing to point out an issue that you have; it's another to stand on it. You know what I mean?
Well, these people that want that Palestinian conflict resolved or whatever on the leftist party, the leftist side of this, they're the ones on campus they're going all over the place protesting. There's a serious movement within that party, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
significant voting block of young people, right, wrong, or indifferent, that believe that. And she's just pissed all over them. And I don't suspect you're going to get people like that. They're extremists to begin with. And what
Right?
happens when you offend an extremist? They learn to hate you quickly, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true.
I'm not saying those kids are going to vote for Trump, but they're not going to come out and vote for Kamala. That's
Right.
just as good as voting for Trump, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of nice to see that breakdown, and also there's a big segment in that black community that's not happy that there was no vote for a candidate. They're very upset that Kamala was just named. They're really fucking twisted by the fact that she changes her voice when she's talking to black people and when she talks to other people.
Well, you know what would be a really powerful message?
That's fucking funny.
You know, it'd be a really powerful message. Biden got what 81 million votes, wasn't
Yeah,
that the tally? And Trump
yeah,
got like 75, 76, something like that. It would be
yes.
a really powerful message if in this election he got 75, 76 million and she got, I don't know, 50. And that's
Yeah.
all that's the entire vote count. Like if the entire vote count went down, I think that would send a powerful message
I think that would
to the
show that,
Democratic
well,
Party, especially, right? It would. I
yeah,
can't. I don't know how you could see that happen, that occur to you as a party, and not look back and say, "How did we fuck up votes on 30 million people? How did we turn 30 million people off to elections?"
right. I don't know that that's going to happen, but this is something too that a lot of people, especially Democrats and many Republicans, that run around that keep saying that last election was stolen. And I want to just make a point here that the state of Arizona was lost by 0.23%. That's how much Biden won by. Did you know that?
He how much?
0.23%.
Hmm.
The state of Georgia was lost by 0.36%. Huh. Under a percent, a third of a percent
Yeah.
is what Biden won by. And what I always said, that's why, and I say this because I've been saying this for the longest time, folks, that it's the Republican districts that stole it from Trump.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed them to get such a narrow margin of victory. The state of up top, is it Wisconsin or Michigan? Michigan, 2.3%. It was a state that he was projected to win. Pennsylvania, he lost by a very small margin, I think less than 1%. He lost the entire election that turned on like 56,000 votes across 5 states.
Yeah.
That's the election, how it turned out. And it's shocking because in the state of Georgia, they've proven unequivocally that there's hundreds of thousands of uncounted ballots that were never put into the tally. So I mean, they've proven this in several states, in Arizona and Georgia specifically, that the tabulation of the vote count, it was all fucked up. Ballots that shouldn't have been counted were counted. Ballots for Biden or Trump were counted for different candidates. It's a fucking mess, bro. They admit it. And the other thing that's ironic is that 5 states all closed down at the same time. And all 5 said that they weren't going to start counting till the next morning at 9 a.m. And they sent all the observers and all the Republican voters home. And as soon as all of those people were getting out of the building, key people went back in and continued counting votes, Democrats only. That happened in all 5 states and all 5 of the biggest Democratic districts in each state. And a lot of people know it, but I would tell you most of the country are unaware of it because they were asleep when this happened. and
Yeah.
only sycophants like me that had multiple monitors monitoring the fuck. I monitored that election county by county, district by district, state by state, and was talking about it on Twitter and YouTube as it was going on. So I was kind of one of them freaks when it came to politics.
I may
I
be
go
that
pretty
way.
hard.
I may be that way this year. I'm very interested to see how it goes. I'm extremely interested to see how it goes.
Well, even New York State, which is a 20 to 30 to 40% victory for a Democrat, Kamala's only leading here by 12%. That's significantly bad for a Democrat, bro.
I got to
That's
disagree with
real bad.
the comment on the screen. I used to really like Brandon Tatum, and I forget specifically what it was, but
Remind me who he is, because I know the name.
he's a political streamer. He's an ex cop, and he's very much pro Trump. Right, he's a black guy that's just extremely pro Trump. He's always
I know
bashing.
who he is. I know who he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, he's got the
Well,
cowboy hat with the sheriff hat. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, he's every time I've seen him, he's just sitting at his studio. But I saw a couple of streams probably a year and a half ago. I hadn't watched him in quite a while, and I started watching it, and he was saying exactly the opposite of what he had said 3 years ago, and had absolutely no fucking reason to do it other than the narrative that's being fucking pushed. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't get down with you. I can't get down with you because you're absolutely just going along with whatever the fuck everybody wants to hear.
Right.
And it turned me off to him. He is good entertainment for sure, right? And
I'm
a
gonna
lot
Google
of
him quick
times,
for a picture.
huh?
I'm gonna Google him so for my own idea what he looks like. Officer Tatum. Yeah,
He and Candace Owens were real tight for a while,
yeah.
and yeah,
I'm so tired of her, man.
I haven't
tired.
followed.
Go ahead.
I just haven't followed them since the first half of 2021. I hadn't followed any of that shit. But then like I said,
know
I
who he is.
stumbled across him and was watching one of his videos, and I'm like, you're talking exactly the opposite, 180-degree turn from what you were 4 years ago, and I can't get down with that.
Yeah, I have a problem with Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, and the other guy there. I forget his name. He's married to the guy there. It'll come to me. And the reason I'm down with them is they're always putting themselves in position to be the smartest person in the room and attacking the other side. And by doing that, they continue the conversation. In other words, these people drag your attention to topics that even Trump today. I wonder if Trump has somebody listening to me. Okay. If you do, congratulations. You finally got a brain cell that fucking clicks. But here's the deal, folks. He finally said what I've been saying for a long time. Transgenderism and the other subjects don't matter anymore. Even abortion don't matter. It's settled. Right. Whether you like it or not, it's settled. There's no presidential candidate that's going to change the ruling of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
It's done. And the transgender thing is always a constant topic, but it's a topic that's a waste of fucking time that doesn't deserve the amount of attention it gets.
No, I agree
Trump
with that.
actually said that today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hey.
You're paying attention to things that don't have any relevance anymore. The election isn't going to swing on those topics, and they're not relevant. He said we can't even buy bacon. He's hung up on the price of bacon. I don't know if anybody's caught that with Trump lately, but it's the third fucking time he's mentioned bacon when he's talking about food prices. He must be really tore up about bacon. Or he knows my buddy in Florida that happens to have an elephant that goes to somebody's Republican fucking things. Okay? Who eats bacon every morning. You know who you are, Frank. Fucking guy eats more bacon. I think the guy single-handedly is eating like 4 herds of fucking pigs in his whole life. Herds of them. One strip of bacon at a time.
Oh,
awesome dude, bro. But no, you tell that guy not to eat bacon. He's in his 70s. He could probably bench press all of us. And he runs around the country with an elephant behind him in his trailer.
That's fucking fun.
Awesome, bro. I should actually promote his daughter. His daughter's got this the walking elephant, folks. You got to go check this out. The walking elephant. Go check that shit out, okay? His kids are all part of this. His wife, him. And he's literally one of the few guys left in this country that has an actual elephant. He's got camels. He's got peacocks. He's the old school entertainment, Cletus, when the fair would come to town, right? The
Yeah.
carnivals, that's who this guy was in the entertainment business his whole life. He was
Yeah.
around when they created that circle of death with the motorcycle.
Speaking of animals and motorcycles, we were flipping through. I think it was yesterday. At some point, we were flipping through some videos, and there was one. Somebody took footage from the Sturgis motorcycle rally in this year, and about 3 seconds in, there's this lady riding a bike in, and you see something on her shoulder and the top of her arm, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then it turns its head and it's a fucking spider monkey. I was like, that's awesome. That motherfucker was gripped onto her arm tight as hell. That shit was funny as hell.
When I was a kid, I grew up with we had a capuchin monkey, a squirrel monkey, a cotton top marmoset.
Oh hell.
Yeah, we had a Mexican blue front. We had a blue front, a Mexican double yellowhead, a blue front Amazon, minor bird, parakeets, gerbils. Okay, you name it, we had it.
I'd be no good with a monkey. It would be the biggest asshole to anybody outside of this household. Because I can see me now.
There's a link for you lazy people out there. Just a bunch of lazies. Sorry about that, Cletus.
No, you're good.
That's a link to the walking elephant. You could buy footprints. You could buy they got a gift shop. You could schedule tours. You could schedule. Yeah, it's awesome, man. So what else was I going to say? Yeah. So I really think, to be very honest with you, and I was reluctant, and it's only because of watching these other variety of different streamers and stepping outside of the areas that I've been around and have access to.
Yeah.
Seeing things from the perspective of people that we think are different from us is just kind of awesome, because they could add, they absolutely add to the observational fucking powers, because you could see through their eyes what you may not notice with your eyes, because we all are individuals and we all see the world through our own lens, right?
Well, and that's something that I find funny about Biden and Harris, for that matter. In 2020, I never saw anybody speak on or in favor of Biden in any real way other than just to get up there and mouth, right? I never heard a debate in favor of him, and I have yet to hear anybody be in favor of her or in support of her. And I would be really curious to see somebody or to hear somebody actually have a good discussion back and forth about, the benefits of her over Trump and the benefits of Trump over her.
Right.
And I wonder, is it a situation where they just don't fucking exist? Or is it a situation where it's just impossible because there are no fucking benefits? You know what I mean?
No, there's absolute benefits of her over him in ways that are astoundingly good. Here's the other defining moment. To be very honest with you, I think, because if you look at the small variation in margins between, forget the total vote, but when you look at the actual differences and where the election were lost for Trump, I think there's enough people remorseful for that choice. If there was no advertising or anything, you just put a picture of him up and a picture of her up, and there was
Right.
no other discussion that were to take place.
Yeah.
Because she's part of the Biden administration, there's enough people with remorse for their Biden vote that they would automatically vote Trump and just keep their mouth shut. In other words, I think that there's a much higher likelihood that he's going to win the election than her. And no matter who you put against him, if it was even Biden or her, I think that's where the Democratic Party fucked up. They fucked up like that with Bernie and Hillary too. They jacked Bernie off and gave him a house, right, and sent him home to his ugly wife. And Hillary, the ugly hag that's got the fucking, I don't know if that old man's got syphilis or not, or he's got something going on, but Billy Boy. And they gave her the nomination. Now this time they made the worst mistake possible. They put a woman out that really isn't in any way, shape, or form a Black American, and yet tries to present herself as such. They see through that. That's
Yeah.
the best part. They see through that now. Not all of them, but so many more than ever before that's the difference. Do you follow me?
No, I'm with you.
So that's where now the Democratic Party is absolutely lost control with that kind of propagandizing, name calling, race divisional stuff. They're they're losing that power. And the fact that
So,
she supports and this guy supports more stuff about illegal immigrants and gays and lesbians than they do about Americans and blacks is another big hole in her game. Go ahead.
well, that's one of the reasons I'm extremely interested in seeing the outcome of this election, right? Because what you're saying makes sense. I don't doubt that that's what you've observed, and I don't doubt that I could go observe the same thing myself if I put the time into it. But I'm interested to see the outcome because by that rationale, he should win, and
In a landslide.
there should be no fucking way that it's that close. You know what I
It
mean?
won't be. I think you're going to only find her winning in devout left wing controlled states. These states too are also starting to wake up because, how long can you go in the city of Chicago where every single mayor that you fucking elect is a black Democrat, black male Democrat, black white female or black female Democrat, right? You keep and they keep fucking robbing and destroying your city. Eventually, the people there are going to get tired of voting for people that look like them, and they're going to start wanting to vote for people that'll fix shit around them, right?
Yeah.
So they'll go from look like them to fix this shit around me. And that's slowly really starting to happen in a lot of these big democratic areas because the poorest of the poor are the ones that are the first ones to squeak, right?
Well, and it's another thing that I wonder about sometimes is, and it's really going to be something that I'll evaluate once the election's over. If he wins, then it's going to be a situation in my head of is it at where we're at a point where we don't have the luxury of being upset about the bullshit anymore. Right? We're all in such a bad fucking place that all we want is for things to be better. We don't give a fuck what somebody's stance is on this or that. Are you gonna make things fucking better?
I think what's slowly happening, and hopefully before, I don't see a way for her to win. So let's go on the premise that Trump wins. And so for me, the key to his presidency won't just be his 4 years. It's the conditioning of the country and the next man behind him to continue forward with what he's doing. So he not only has to do good things, right? And start like I didn't know the tax breaks run out in 2025. I didn't know that. So your ability to deduct as an individual $12,600 off of your gross income versus $6,000 that it used to be before Trump. He doubled the individual deduction. So if you made 50 grand, your taxable income started at 44,000. But if you make 50 grand now, the government can only see 38 of it. It drops you a full tax bracket. It puts more money in your pocket. What he did, that tax break will expire in 2025. And he's pointed that out several times. But believe that or not, that is a big deal. Now, when you start making triple digit numbers or high double digit numbers, that $6,000 may not give you that much of a significant break. So it definitely means more to the lower income person. And that's going to run out, and that would run out whether he's elected or not. So and Biden intends, and the Democrats intend to let that tax deduction run out, and he's pushing that. And that, believe it or not, Cletus, that is a big impact when you think about that. You're going to get taxed 30% at 50, as an example, and you're going to get taxed 25 at 40, and they're only looking at 38. You just save 5%, and now you're only going to get 25% of 38 instead of 30% of 50. See, there's a significant savings there for you that you get to keep in your pocket. And when
I
you're
hope.
talking numbers that are relatively that small on income, and I think the average American income, I can look again, it's not that high.
No, it's not.
Right? I mean, I don't think the American income, they're not triple digits. The average income, I can Google real quick.
I think in Tennessee, the median household income is something like 65 grand, if I'm not mistaken. That's household.
see what it says here. Largest, okay. They can range from 40,000 in Detroit to over 100,000 in San Francisco. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're saying it's estimated to be 78,000, but they can vary widely depending on location and education. So when I'm saying 50, it's probably somewhere closer to 60 now.
Yeah.
Would be a good middle of the road income on average.
Yeah.
And those people now being taxed only for 48 versus 60 is still it's a drop in tax bracket.
Right.
It drops you below whatever the bracket might be. And I threw numbers out that I don't mean apply as accuracy. When I say 30% or 25, I'm not saying that that's the actual truth. I'm just giving you an example, folks in the chat room. I don't know what the tax rate is at 60, nor do I know what it is at 38 or 48. But I do know that when you drop a $12,000 step backwards or step forward, you're heading into a new taxable bracket usually.
I think, one of the things I've been thinking about with Trump is just the fact that Biden was able to undo a lot of the shit he did on day one, right? And it's like, I have no doubt Trump is a very, he's a very, very strong businessman. And you can't be strong in business and not look ahead, right? And I would think that in hindsight, he probably did that, planning on, number one, because he couldn't get fucking Congress to do shit, and number two, because he was planning on being there another 4 years. And I'm hoping that if he wins this time, he learns from that and shows that he's, he truly is going to do what you're talking about and set things up for the person that's coming behind him, but not through executive order.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He needs to do things. That's right. He needs to do things through the legislative process as strongly as possible. Okay. Like he can executive order the pipelines back open, but then he needs to go to Congress and he needs to change the legislation. As a matter of fact, maybe even get the government out of regulating these things, because there is a new Supreme Court ruling that just came down against these bureaucrats that regulate. And so it's called the Chevron case. If you guys are into law and not politics, go read about the Chevron case. Matter of fact, that gentleman, Frank, that owns the Elephant, could tell you more about how important the Chevron case is and how much of a change that makes for small business. That does things that aren't like selling candy bars in a store, but actually are out there doing things. The truck drivers, the trucking companies, the farmers, the entertainment businesses like his, how you got all of these environmental groups that get involved. And that Chevron bill, there's a huge impact. Also, automakers, bureaucrats just can't decide what the fuck is up or what's down. It's got to be legislated. And that's what the Chevron bill now put it back and straighten out these bureaucrats. You just can't decide for yourselves. You have to have your scientists say this, and they can come up with scientists that say that. So whatever the rule is going to be has to be made by Congress, is what that bill does, which is a huge deal. So that's significant. The abortion ruling, huge deal, pushes the decision back onto each individual states. And then, well, Trump, did you see no taxes on tips and no income taxes on your Social Security benefits? They're giving you a Social Security payment that you put into it, and they're taxing you on it.
Right.
That's going to be, he's going to remove that as well, and no tax on tips. That's a big deal.
So the tips thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I do think that's that is a big deal. I think if it were to expand into the realm of, say, bonuses, then I think it's an even bigger win for him.
There you go. Send him a note, bro.
Because that's not only, tips.
Send them a note for bonuses under a certain amount of money. In other words, not for the millionaires that get these parachute bonuses, but for the working man. If his employer wants to give him anything under $100,000 bonus, whether it be in trips or property or cash, not be taxed.
Well, and I mean, I would even say,
yeah, bro, that would be awesome.
I would even say anything under, in an annual, in a fiscal year, anything under 25 grand as a total, right?
Right,
because a lot of companies will pay bonuses quarterly, monthly, and stuff like that, right? I think
that's good for the company too. It incentivizes them. The better the employee works, the more of a tax-free bonus they get, and the employer gets to deduct it as an expense.
Right.
It's nobody loses. That's right. You need to write that shit up and send it to Trump, or I'm going to take it and do it, and I'm trying to get famous.
Yeah, you're not going to fucking take it and do it. You didn't even write the White House about firing the fucking Secret Service director. But in fairness, neither did I. So, Yeah.
Look at that spade calling a spade a spade. I don't get it. What kind of world do we live in when a spade calls a spade a spade? Hello, kettle. I'm
We got a
pot.
lot of
What's
we
up?
got a lot of good ideas that just seem to find their way
We
outside
do,
the
but that's an
box.
excellent one.
They
That's an
just find
excellent one.
they just find their way outside of the box and get lost in the fucking firmament. Oh fuck.
No, I'm going to write a letter to somebody in the Trump camp. I'm going to put that up there. I'm going to tweet it, and I'm going to send information to different people connected, direct or indirectly, or influencers or whatever. Watch. I got it written down right here. I promise you I'm going to do this. No tax on bonuses by recommendation of Cletus from Tennessee. I think we had a troll in here earlier, but they might have got burnt out. I don't know if they were a troll. They kind of looked like they were trying to be a troll. But bullshit. Kamala 2024. I think they wanted to tend to tell me I'm wrong. That's the most amazing thing. Those two words, when any living, breathing human being looks at me and says that, confirm just how ignorant you are.
What?
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You can't apply them to me. No. And when they can be applied, I'm the first one to point it out. Cletus?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. I won't argue that.
Right? Hey, listen, you can't use them words on me. But I'll tell you what, when they do need to be used, I'm the first one heading the fucking charge to point out that I was wrong. Okay.
Well, and I would say I recall, I think once in the months that I've known you that you were, but it was such an insignificant situation comparatively to the times that you're right. I don't even fucking remember it. There you go. I threw
So
a
for all
band-aid
you out
on.
there asking, why was Cletus your co-host? Why Cletus knows what to say.
I threw a band-aid on your fucking wound that I made for you earlier. There you go. Your ass don't hurt near as bad now.
My ass does not hurt as bad. It's not a hen wound. I was grazed like Trump, maybe not even as much as Trump, but yeah. Yeah, now there's more. I stopped looking, but now there's new body cam footage released of that. The cops were all knowing there was a guy up there. There was all kinds of chaos going on. Did you see the new cameras? The new footage?
Well, I didn't see the footage, but when I finished working this evening, I was thumbing through, and the first thing I saw was JLR doing a video or a live about Crooks's autopsy results revealed, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm pretty sure it's gonna say something about a fucking bullet wound. And
No, you
I'm
really
just
think
like,
they're going to tell us that?
I saw that and I'm like, I don't understand. But right beside that thumbnail was another one that was talking about new footage released, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So
But the
what's in
new
the new
footage
footage?
is interesting because it shows a period of time. It shows where the cop claimed he hauled himself up to the roof. It that whole scenario that we were told about. It shows all. It's documented on body cam. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it comes back to the lone shooter. It comes back to one kid on the roof. He even described the kid as wearing glasses, a white guy wearing glasses with darkish with blondish brown hair. He described the kid on the roof before anybody even saw the kid on the roof. So
Before you
it's
get
kind of
too
interesting.
before you get too far in this, Beckles comment, do you think they will listen? I think they're talking about the comment they made that you put on the screen about the Southern Arizona, whatever politicians are supporting Harris, and they're saying, do you think they will listen? And I would say it depends on how loud of a voice you and people like you, combine together to make. That, I mean, it's worth a try, right? If you stand against it, why not fucking see if there's others like you and make noise about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really care about the imagery and all of that about rally sizes and all that. I don't really think that's going to play a role in any of this pass around. You're talking about the most unfavorable administration in decades, like since Jimmy Carter. And I don't know if and then the whole shenanigans of Joe did quit, but the media and everybody else, all the influence, were attacking the guy for being a dementia fucking maniac, and they pushed him out. I mean, Trump even talked about that today. He did a wide open press conference. I don't know if you did. You should listen to it. It's quite interesting. But yeah, they cooed the guy out. What you saw happen, I know he's still the president, But the coup is that they told the king, "You're no longer the king. This person's gonna take your place, and they're gonna go through the process of anointment, not you. You're not going to be reanointed. She is, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's an observation I think is very fair, and
Yeah.
it just shows that they're just not democratic. That's what Trump was saying. Is that even constant? I mean, Trump's being. I think he knows that how the parties manage their own affairs, the Constitution can't interfere with that or have any part of that. But he's saying, is that even constitutional? Can you do what they did? Just pick somebody out of the air with nobody voting for them? So,
So what were you saying about the new body cam footage?
the new body cam footage is interesting in that it shows a timeline of events that are consistent with the story the cops already told us.
What angle is it from? I mean,
From the chest of the guy that actually, rose himself up on the roof.
Oh, okay.
And he rose himself. He had both of his hands on his roof trying to hold himself up on a flatter metal roof.
Yeah.
And it was quite high. It was about 12 foot off the ground. So the guy below him was trying to shrug him up, but the guy didn't get up on the roof and see the guy and jump back down. He was kind of hanging on the roof, if that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it'd be like you standing on the shoulders, leaning up over a roof, and then some guy points a gun at you. The time it would have taken you to pull your gun and try to get down and then shoot the other guy, you'd have been dead. I would have dropped down too. But so people are going to be more critical of that, and they're not going to be fair-minded.
So the footage does show the guy, the shooter, turn his gun on the cop.
It doesn't, but not clearly enough for you to see that. From what I could tell, I'm sure them fucking that who's that one person from after that fucking
allegedly innocent.
Yeah, allegedly has a fucking brain. And the allegation is false. Let me just tell you right now, folks, she's innocent. There is nothing in that fucking head at all. Maybe the smell of fart gas is probably at best. If you can smell her ear, it probably smells like shit. Anyway, Cletus.
So it doesn't show it clear enough, but it's a reasonable person can assume.
No, but like I'm saying, someone like Tommy Jude will figure out how to make that fucking video work.
But there's enough there to where you can make that connection that is most likely what happened. He's
saying it. He's talking about it. There's a guy up here with a gun.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So his reactions are exactly as described to us verbally, and that to me is the best thing. Now I'm sure, in the ever fucking search of the unreal, fake reality, delusional fucking minds of most of the streamers in the audience out there, of you 5.62 billion fucking geniuses, they will find things in that video to fucking impugn the police.
Would he have been? What were these the one that was trying to climb on the roof? Would he have been to Crook's right or left?
I think left, but again, because video is inverted, isn't it? When you're playing it back or something.
I don't think on body cam it typically is, but it may be. I don't know. But
I don't know. He was to one side of him or the other. I'm thinking right side, but it might have been left. But then no, it was to the left of him. It absolutely was to the left, because where he enters the building, when you see the parking lot and those two tall bushes.
Yeah.
And on the other side, the far end of the building, there's the crowd pointing and yelling.
Yep.
So the cop was trying to get up on that building from behind those bushings from the parking lot. So it was to his left.
All right.
Which is exactly where Crooks was found and exactly where the shots came from.
So he wouldn't have had line of sight to the window where the two.
No.
Okay. All right.
He was at the complete opposite end of the building where those windows were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody that only had to get themselves up, I could see you scaling up there pretty easily.
Yeah.
A younger guy that's flexible, doesn't even got to be athletic. Just put your mind to getting up on that roof, and I can't imagine how you couldn't. You got two walls at a right angle. I don't know if you've ever seen people scale up a wall at distance.
Oh yeah, yeah. That fucking Daniel Cavalcante or whatever it was, that guy in Pennsylvania that escaped. That motherfucker climbed a damn wall like fucking Bruce Lee. Put his hands on one wall and his feet on the other and climbed that bitch.
This kid I grew up with, his name was Chester. I'm not going to say your last name, Chester. You're probably never going to hear this, but I don't want any trouble. I don't want you to have fucking people stalk you or whatever. But check this out. This kid Chester could do backflips. He would run dead on at a tree full speed and then run up the fucking trunk and then do a flip and come off the fucking tree. Fucking
Yeah.
incredible. He was like a gymnast. It was insane. Well, he used to climb up fucking trees on limbs that overhung the road,
Uh-huh.
and he would pee on cars.
Oh, the fuck. That's funny. That's fucking funny.
Well, no, here's the funny part. He decides one day he's going to take a dump hanging off his ass
Oh,
off the branch, and he does.
oh my God.
And it splatters the windshield of a car going by. And the fucked up thing was the car going by belonged to the biggest bully, toughest guy in the neighborhood. He was like a senior.
Yeah.
And that fucking dude, that shit hit his window, right? In the moment of confusion, trying to understand what happened, he turned on the wipers. He smeared shit all over his windows. Now he slams on the brakes because obviously visibility is highly diminished. And he realizes what it is, and he turns around. He jumps out of his car and he looks up in the tree, and he sees this kid Chester there. And he says, "That's where you're going to live for the rest of your life, because when you come down here, I'm killing you." I'll never forget that. We all ran. We all ran in panic. And when Chester finally came down, that Ray gave him an ass kicking. Oh, did he give him an ass kicking? Yeah, that was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. I mean, who even thinks of doing something? Shitting out of a tree on the passing car.
A fucking young boy from back 80s or prior.
Yeah, and the bad luck of the car you hit.
Yeah.
Right? Of all cars to shit on, you got to shit on Ray's. Uh-oh.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was mad at all of us. We were all, as far as he was concerned, guilty. We fucking steered clear of that guy big time, bro. Oh, yeah.
Good thing you wasn't in a convertible, huh?
Yeah. Oh, imagine. That'd have been the end of it. We'd all would have been dead.
That'd have been like, that's a big fucking bird.
That's a bird. Dropping a big old fucking turd on your hand.
There's a fucking pterodactyl in that tree or something. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've had an interesting life, to say the least. Yeah, a bit fucked up, I admit it. But it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up, but it's shit that kids used to do, you know? I mean, God almighty.
Fuck, dude. We used to chase each other. Right.
The only time I ever got in trouble, we rolled a roll of fucking hay off the back of a damn truck going down the road one night on Halloween and set it on fire, right? And little did we know that the fucking state trooper was following us. So when we rolled the roll of hay off, of course, the state trooper was the asshole that almost hit it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was fucking comical.
Man,
that was comical.
What we used to do is, go ahead.
My buddy at least got his mugshot. He fucking stole his mugshot from the fucking from the station.
But didn't the bale of hay burn up? Did it keep going? What happened to the bale of hay?
I don't fucking know what happened to the bale of hay. I'm assuming it burned the fuck up, but we wasn't around there long enough to see it.
Listen, I was in this fucking. We had bought this wood boat. It was a boat from the 60s, a little 4-cylinder engine in the middle, and we lived by a creek up here that's good fishing. It's connected to a major river that connects to the lake. So we got this boat and we're towing it back. And we're fucking stoned off our asses. And we're just having a good old time. And we're on a 4-lane divided highway. And we're in the outside lane going east. And all of a sudden, the boat starts passing us on the outside lane of the traffic going west. It literally is passing the fucking truck. And it was like one of those moments, because you're so fucking stoned, right?
Yeah.
That you don't know if that's real or is that your mind playing tricks on you.
You fucking seeing shit.
Right.
That fucking car looks just like a boat on a trailer. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then when we all realize what it is, he fucking slams on the brakes, right?
Yeah.
Probably thinking he's trying to stop the boat. But we're also fucking lit. That slamming on the brakes threw us all forward, and we're all like, oh, bang, fucked up. And then boom. I'll never forget this. It was one of those when the little pickup trucks became popular. Like, it was a Toyota. Toyota crew cab or something from back
Uh-huh.
then, and it hit that boat head on, and that wooden boat exploded like an Al Qaeda fucking bomb. It went fucking everywhere. And this dude, when he climbed out of his truck, he climbed out of his truck and jumped out of the back of the boat, the part where the engine was, and the part where you would sit down,
Yeah.
because the whole front of the boat and the area behind the windshield where you would operate the boat was gone. It exploded. It's just gone, bro. And we took off. Herb was like, "Whoa!" and he took off, and never, obviously he didn't go back and say it was him, and everybody just kept their mouth shut. But that, imagine the driver of that fucking truck all of a sudden looking up, and here comes a boat right at you.
No
I
shit.
wonder if he was stoned too. If he was, it had to be trippy as fuck.
Oh, that's funny. He's like, I wonder if that guy was stoned and saw what I saw.
I'm telling you, dude, it was like unbelievable. You couldn't even. I don't even know if there was. You need to put a scene like that in the fucking movie. Movies from the '80s, because that's when this was. It was like probably the early '90s, more than the '80s, but still close enough,
Yeah.
Fucking Herb. I'll never forget that motherfucker. That shit was tripping, man. Yeah. So anyway, all of that, and we started out talking about Kamala. Now we're driving boats stoned as a motherfucker, driving cars that lose boats stoned as hell.
Trying to hold on to the and reminisce of the of a time when things were better and simpler, right?
Oh man, shitting out of trees. That's fucking living life right there.
I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than that. Being able to climb a fucking tree and
Yeah.
take a shit on a windshield of a moving car. That's
Except
America.
it's only fucking model that I could be aware that would apply to. It would be shitting on a trees waiting to die, because the guy you shit on ain't gonna be happy. If you did that today, you'd be riddled with bullets.
Oh
Can you
fuck.
imagine?
Yeah. That's
Dude, we used to also take an old pair of clothes, pants, and a shirt, and we would pack them with lead. We would tie off down by the ankles. We'd tie them off. We would tie shoes to it, right? We'd do all of that. We'd pack it with leaves so it looked like a body, legs and a torso, and the arms would all get filled up. And then we would take, back when I was young, even before the generation before me, my parents' generation, women were big on wigs. And they used to have these styrofoam heads that you would put the wig on when you were done wearing it to maintain its shape.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what we would do is where the collar was, we would use shoelaces and tie that fucking fake head and put the wig on this thing.
Yeah.
And then we would take a rope from a tree limb that was close to the road or overhung the road. And on Halloween, when a car would come, he would swing this thing out across the road. And you swear to God that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some kids running across the road, cars
Oh,
would slam on their brakes, police would get called, and shit was crazy,
Jesus. That's fucking
bro. It's just crazy, man. But still, it was harmless fun. If they would have hit it, it wouldn't have hurt nothing. It was made out of leaves. What was it going to hurt?
yeah. Probably
That shit.
the fucking funniest. We had where I grew up was a little small. Like the whole fucking town was like 700 people, and we one guy that came over with us one Halloween night, he decided it'd be funny to set a box of newspapers on fire in front of this fucking doctor's office, the only doctor's office in that little town, and we left. Well, the fucking doctor's office caught on fire, and we didn't
Yeah.
know, right? And we're riding around throwing fucking eggs down my buddy's road that goes. It ends in a creek at his dad's property, and we get down there, and we get in the creek, and we're walking up the other side to the main road, and we get up to the top of the hill, and this fucking constable comes pulling up. And he's like, y'all hadn't seen anybody down there in that creek, have you? And mind you, we're fucking wet from like, tits down, right? Just drenched wet. And we're like, no, we hadn't seen anybody. And he's like, all right, cool. And he fucking goes on about his day. I was like, that is some funny shit. And then a buddy of ours come pulling up, and he's like, they're looking for y'all for burning the fucking doctor's office. And we're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Oh my
But that
God.
fucking
Yeah.
constable, he did. He's like, y'all hadn't seen anybody down there in the creek, have you? And we're sitting there looking at each other like, how the fuck do we answer that?
Fucking Barney Pfeiffer, Sergeant Schultz's cousin.
Yeah, my buddy was like, he was quick as shit on it too. He was like, no, we hadn't seen anybody. And it's, I mean, he wasn't lying. We hadn't seen anybody other than us. So,
Right, right. That shit is fucking crazy, man. Yeah, we thank God we didn't do that. We used to run around with it. Remember the big tall tubular bicycles pumps to pump up the tires?
yeah. Yeah.
So it would be me and my stepsister, and in the spring and some summer nights where it was cool out and people would open their windows, they'd be in there watching TV, and we would blow up one of these balloons. Water balloons are the best because they're heavier rubber,
Yeah.
and you blow them up to the point of bursting, and then you like sneak around the yards and you get underneath someone's window where they're in there watching I Love Lucy or whatever would be on TV, and then you would pump the last pump or two into that balloon, and it would fucking explode, and it would sound like a shotgun going on.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fucking incredible how loud a balloon can be when you pump it up with a manual pump. Way louder than when you do it with your mouth. Anyway, Clay, it's 10 o'clock. Nobody hung up on nobody. Can you imagine that? I can't, so I had to hang up on you. Folks, to remind everyone, it is 10:02. Poor Cletus. Oh my God. I threw him to the wolves because sometimes, folks, being childish is something you should never ever let go of. And with that word of wisdom, and we lost our troll. I think our troll tried. There were a couple of Kamala Harris trolls in here, but they didn't try hard enough, so they didn't get any attention from us. But we'll be back again tomorrow at 9 with your ass hurts news network. It's Sergeant Friday. You all have a good night.